Tamara is here, and today I'm going to talk you through my full push session. As I told you earlier, I've changed the split of my training and I started doing push pull legs, and a day off. So this way I can train every body part twice a week to put on a bit more size. Now I just have to make sure that I rest in between the training sessions enough as well. So this day it was a push session, as I said. So usually I start with shoulders because I feel that my shoulders need a bit more work. So it's easier to start with them when I'm fresh, and I usually do more exercises on shoulders than on any body parts on that day. So I started with Smith machine presses behind the neck, which works not mostly, but which works really well on the rear delts as well. And then I did this superset with the seated side raises on the machine, supersetted with the bent over raises for the rear delts. The side raises I did in a different position. I was facing the other way around, and I put the pads just above my elbows so I can lift my arms up straight, hitting the side delts properly. Then I moved on to the dumbbells. So I was doing dumbbell side raises, and I supersetted it with rear delts as well with dumbbells. Usually I do a lot of supersets, especially on my shoulders, because of an ongoing shoulder injury, which sometimes gets better, sometimes gets worse. So generally speaking, I'm just trying to work around it, and therefore I don't go too heavy on my shoulders. I just go as heavy as I can. I don't really push the weights as much. However, I do push the reps as much as I can just to burn them out, and that's why I normally use a lot of supersets on the shoulders. Sometimes 2, sometimes even 3 exercises, one after the other. So this is the second part of the superset where I was training rear delts. After this, I moved on to the cable, and I was doing a similar exercise on the cable machine. Basically, on this day, I was focusing more on the rear delts, so I was doing more exercises on the rear delts than on the side delts. On the side delts, I was only doing 2, and on the rear delts I was doing 1, 2, 3, 4, yes. So this cable exercise I supersetted with the face pull. Usually the face pull I do in 2 heights, if you like. One of them is this height where I put the cable quite high up, and sometimes I just drop it down to about chest height, a little bit higher, about throat height, basically chin height, and do the face pulls that way as well, so that hits a different angle in the rear delts. So that was my last exercise on shoulders, and after that I moved on to chest. As I said, I have this ongoing shoulder injury, which sometimes make it a little bit difficult to train chest, to do many presses on chest, especially once I've trained shoulders. But depending on the angle and on the machines that I use, sometimes it's better, sometimes it's worse. This machine I quite like because of the angle, how my wrist is positioned, and that helps with the shoulder injury a lot. So if you suffer from a shoulder injury, try twisting your wrists into different angles when you're doing the presses, because that really takes pressure off the shoulders. So I supersetted the incline press with this decline press. This decline press is usually light. It's just to wrap it out with, within the same set. I don't normally go heavy on this exercise, however, I do feel it. After this, I moved back to the cable, and I was doing this variation of the incline press, which is a close grip press. Sometimes I do it with a dumbbell, but the cable has different resistance. Obviously, it gives you a constant resistance, so I prefer the cable work in most cases. And that push I supersetted with push-ups, close grip push-ups, which works on the chest, and it also warms up my triceps for the next exercise, because after this I moved on to tricep. I didn't do many exercises on chest on that day. It depends on how I feel, especially with my shoulder. I try to push my shoulders more because I need to get them wider, and I do as much as I can on chest. I don't normally push chest too much. So I moved on to tricep after this. I started with a dumbbell, this variation of the skull crusher. I twist the dumbbells at the bottom position, and then as I come up I twist them again. It works really nicely on the back of the tricep. I don't know if you've tried it. If you haven't, you definitely should give it a go. And then I moved on to cable again. I did this variation of the cable tricep push downs with both arms. Usually I do it with one arm only, but on this day I tried both arms and I felt it actually pretty well working again on the back of the tricep, you can see. And I supersetted it with the reverse grip push downs, which again works on the back of your tricep very nicely, you can see. So that was my full push workout. Most exercises on shoulders, some on chest, and again some on tricep. If you need a training plan or a nutrition plan, get in touch.